Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Matchday 9 on the Football Index Fantasy Football Agency. So, last week we spoke about, we didn't really have much more in the way of games. Since the last video, we've had the Europa League final and we've had the Champions League final. Out of both games, we only had our boy Kante playing, didn't do anything for us. But like I've explained in the last video or so, it's all about now reassessing ahead of next year. Okay, now I'm a little bit disappointed in myself. I think I've maybe hung on a little bit too long. I've been trying to track some players for next season to get into the squad ahead of time. Okay, now when we're doing this kind of strategy with using IPDs as the stimulus for player growth, the best time to buy them is when they're on a down, is when they're on a low. What we're going through now, this media madness especially, it will present as opportunities to pick up PB players at a discounted rate, basically with the 10% net buys bonus, if you want to add that into the equation, as well as the market focus being on media magnets, potential transfers, that kind of thing. But in the recent days, I have noticed that PB players have actually been rising as well. There's not really too many of them here that I was thinking about, but it just tells me basically that there's other people in the market who are thinking along the same lines that I am. Maybe yourself if you're watching this, or it could be other people, of course. Okay, so it's something to bear in mind for the now. Going forward, is that your PB players are going to be ones that if there's somebody who you had last year did really well for you, or somebody who you're thinking about next year, and you see them presented at a relatively low price or an entry point you're really happy with, then it's something you should definitely consider pushing the button on the now, even though it will be a bit more of a long-term maturity, a long-term payout for you. You might be waiting until early September before you sell them on and make profit on them, but you're playing ahead of the game as always, guys. Okay, the portfolio itself has went through a bit of a change in terms of the squad. I had to sell some players. I'm getting some French doors put in my house. Needed an extra couple of quid just to make sure that finances weren't going to go too tight, and the decision I made was to sell my dead weight, sell my players who were at a loss, and sell my players who the strategy I had laid out for them had either material change on it, or there was just, I couldn't foresee them making a decent recovery to a profit situation within the next kind of 3-4 weeks. Okay, so we sold Milinkovic-Savic. Really, I don't see him leaving Italy at this point, just with the limited speculation. That might change, and things can change really quickly. And the prices at the now, if it was to come about that he was going to sign for Man United or Arsenal or any of these kind of big English clubs who when you're buying somebody from media who you really want to be linked to, it could just come out of nowhere. He's not had any links at all. He could really pop and fly because he has a great talent. I don't know why the guy's almost 2 meters tall. This season he's not been too great. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but anyway, he still has a lot of great qualities, and the prices at the now is very, very appealing. If you were to buy on him now, I bought him at 123 and we sold him at 118. So we made a little bit of a loss on him, and he did bag us some dividends, a penny a share. So we didn't really lose out as much as that quite, but yes, we moved him on. We moved on Varane and we moved on Koulibaly. We also had a wee bit of side trades on the go with Jared Bowen and Olivier Ncham. We sold them off and we withdrew. Okay, so it then left me with a position where this is my portfolio, and I was starting to think ahead to what transfer targets I'm going to bring into the agency. Okay, now because I've had to sell these players, I basically made a note of the amount of FIFA funds I'd bought with them in the first place, my capital that I'd put into them in the first place. And I basically just gave myself a tick sheet that I owed that strategy that money back. Okay, and then after a bit of deliberation, what I realised was I've actually bought a couple of players in really good financial positions with a lot of maturity still to go on them, and I've just integrated them straight into the strategy that we've got there now, rather than trying to search for something that's not there. I've got something right in front of me there now. So we've drafted Guerrero back into the fantasy football squad. You might remember he was in the first iteration of the squad. With the kind of controversy with the positioning thing, I've put Brandt in this as a midfielder. Okay, he's still listed as a forward, of course, but if this positional thing does come back, he will be playing like attacking mid, I imagine, for Borussia Dortmund. They've signed Hazard, he'll be playing wide left. Jadon Sancho will be playing wide right or vice versa, and I see Brandt operating that number 10 role and behind a striker. Okay, so the possibility for him to move to midfield is there, and it just makes the shape work thin out. And again, Guerrero is a defender, but again, at the moment, he played more games last season at left mid than he did left back, and he featured in a video that I did on the channel called Exploiting Defenders for that reason. And I think Football Index are really trying to clamp down on that type of thing. So I've put both of them down as midfielders for the purposes of this, and then we threw Nicholas Stark in there at centre back as well. Okay, there will be some transfers. We will be selling some of these people on when they reach certain stages of maturity, and making sure that we do very strictly adhere to the positional criteria for the strategy in the team that we have. Okay, so Brandt and Guerrero, those positions. Brandt, I might move him back to being a forward if we move one of those guys on, bring a midfielder in one of their places, whatever. But this is how we're sitting at the moment, guys. Okay, so really good position with some of these guys, and I started picking up Kramaric, Guerrero, Pereiro and Stark just because the price they were at. I thought they were very appealing positions to be in for who they are and what's coming up in the summer and potential transfers they might be linked to. Guerrero was on a list, a news article I read. Players at Borussia Dortmund see surplus to requirements, and I think the guy had a great season last year, and he did really well for Nice the season before, and he'll be at the Nations League with Portugal, so he's potentially somebody who, you know, is in a great position to be jumping on the now. Kramaric, I love the guy, he's great for PB. Hoffenheim not being in Europe, his manager Nagelsmann now been at Leipzig. Possibility of them going there is very good, or elsewhere. Pereiro, did a video about him and the People's Portfolio. If you want to go listen to that, go check it out. And Nicholas Stark we've had before, and I've told you about him before, and it's just somebody who, at 34 pence a share, I think it's a great buy. Okay guys, so thanks for tuning into the video, and I will catch you on next week's episode to update you on where we're at with the strategy. Take care, ta-ra.